This is the Xbox. 3% bigger controller. Oh my god! It's morphing! Reggie said whack.
How's it going, everyone? I'd like to provide a brief discussion about the Switch 2. I unintentionally waited until after the hype train died down, but in case you live under a rock, the Switch 2 got announced a few days ago, and it's still #1 on trending, so I think it's safe to say some people were excited for it. Now, the Switch 2 has definitely been the worst kept secret Nintendo's ever had, because it's been getting leaked for months. We practically knew everything about the console hardware-wise, and even software-wise come January. We started to hear rumors about how the menu is going to look more like the Wii U, which I'm honestly pretty excited for. But so far, we know pretty much everything about the Switch 2 other than software, and that's still yet to be shown by Nintendo. They released a reveal trailer on Thursday, very early in the morning on a random day, pretty much. And surprisingly, the leaks were true about that, which I'm honestly shocked about. It honestly shocked me when it came out. And then we got all the videos of all these people reacting to the Switch 2, people talking about the Switch 2. The Switch 2 can fly. If you get the reference, you get the reference. But one of the biggest things about that reveal trailer is that almost nothing new about the Switch 2 was shown. Pretty much everything shown was what was leaked. But honestly, what they showed was still pretty good. And despite a bunch of people's complaints about it, I think the Switch 2 has promise. One of the biggest complaints, and I honestly think the dumbest complaint, is the name. People don't like that it's called Switch 2. And I don't think any of them remembered the Wii U at all. I mean, this is like Nintendo's first quote-unquote sequel console since the Wii U. They had the Super Nintendo, then the Nintendo 64 was kind of like its own thing. Then you had the GameCube, then the Wii, both kind of like difference themselves apart in terms of branding. But then the Wii U is directly trying to market itself as a sequel to the Wii. And ironically, the marketing for that pointed out every confusion about the Wii U, and yet they still did it anyways. I find that very ironic. But yeah, Nintendo Switch 2 is Nintendo's first sequel console, and the first one definitively called 2. We had ones that was like Super Nintendo Entertainment System after the Nintendo Entertainment System, which was, as it advertised, a super version of the Nintendo Entertainment System, an upgrade in almost every sense of the word. But then the Wii U, that's not it. Once you hear the name, you get it. That was the idea behind the name Wii. It symbolizes people coming together and playing games. The Wii U was meant to be everyone and you. Hence, Wii U. It meant everyone coming together and then everything and then you. That's the U, because the gamepad centered around you. I get what they were trying to accomplish with the name, but it caused a bunch of confusion because so many accessories were called Wii blank, including U Draw tablet for the Wii, which made it even more confusing. It works, I think the name works, but they did not market it correctly to make people understand what it was. They revealed it in 2011, everyone was confused, and in 2012 they did the exact same thing, talked about the exact same points, didn't fix anything, they just went with the same thing again, which just confused people even more. And it was overall a big mess. And the fact that people were hoping that Nintendo's next console would pretty much repeat that is completely baffling to me. We were all calling it the Switch 2 back in the rumors before it even had a confirmed name. The second its name was confirmed, everyone got pissy, and I think that's just because no one liked the look of the logo. Honestly, I don't get the hate behind the name. I think it works great. I think it definitely symbolizes Nintendo's growth over how to market consoles, how to make future consoles. And it's worked with PlayStation for 5 years. And we're getting rumors of the PlayStation 6, which I think is completely stupid because the PS5 hasn't done anything yet. But that's the overall premise behind the name. That's the overall general opinion of it. And I disagree with it fully. I think it works well. I'm honestly really glad that they're definitively calling it the Switch 2 because it helps point out the fact that it is indeed a sequel. And there's no more to really say there. But one of the next big complaints is the fact that the console looks pretty much the same to the Switch 1. honestly, this one I get even less, because once again, it applies like just like the Wii U. You want it to be like the past, and like I don't think you remember how the past played out. And even more so, this is a handheld. It may connect to the TV, making it a hybrid, and it's designed for TV usage, making it a hybrid, but at its core, it's a handheld. What more can you really change to the console to make it stand out? And the answer is nothing. You can't really change much about it. So that complaint was going to happen no matter what, but people that were expecting the console to look entirely different, I think they were wanting Nintendo to fail, honestly. The design itself, I think, is pretty good improvement, much bigger Joy-Cons, more rounded, and I think the size hopefully will make it feel more comfortable to hold, even though there's still no back end, but that's what accessories are for. But the general look, you can't really do much in terms of grip, especially if you're trying to make it accessible through a bunch of accessories, like the Joy-Con grips. You can't really change much of the general shape, that's why all they can really do is make it more rounded on the edges. And I think it looks fine. I like the fact that it's basically an inverted Switch 1 controller where the color's on the inside and not the outside. And the fact that it pops out is definitely going to make the buttons, the SL and SR, much easier to control. And the Switch 1 is all about bringing all of the innovations from all the different consoles, putting them into one console. And the Switch 2 seems to be continuing that. Maybe it's not really confirmed, but they have been coming up with new ideas, and that's also the Switch's image, is to be innovative, hence why it was a hybrid. And looked like they're trying to make as much innovation with what they've got. They're pretty much taking a cake, a well-designed cake, and they're decorating it even more. I guess that can be the analogy. They're making do with what they got, so they're making as much innovation that they can add to the Switch 1. And one of the innovations that has been confirmed is that the Joy-Cons are going to act like computer mouses, or computer mice. And I think that's a pretty cool idea. I can see a bunch of different ideas that you can do with that. And I think that sensor can also be multi-purpose, because they've also, it's been confirmed that Nintendo filed a patent for VR usage on the Switch. And the Nintendo playtest was all about you picking up different blocks and moving them around with a bit of augmented reality. That could also be a secondary feature of that sensor on those Joy-Cons. And that honestly shouldn't be a selling point, but should be like an idea. Like have it be like a complementary feature of like the different ideas you could do. You could have like another Nintendo Labo-esque where it's like the VR but actual VR. I think that could be a cool idea. The mouse one could definitely be like bringing professional gaming to a non-professional setup, or like a non-professional environment. That can honestly be a cool selling point. Bringing the professional to the non-professional environment. That could either be a backhanded compliment or a smart idea, or just a smart slogan, I guess. I think that seems to be what they're doing with that. I think it looks pretty good. That looks pretty good to me. But those are the two main complaints, and of course the big complaint, and that one fully justifiable, is that no one was excited about it because everything got leaked beforehand. And from that point of view, I'm definitely thinking that the Switch 2 is supposed to get revealed last year. Otherwise, the third-party companies definitely will not be showing off their stuff and screwing Nintendo over. But the leaks back in August and like October, where like the shell got leaked and such, that was just general leaks. But like when the third-party companies were basically showing the entire product, that definitely shouldn't happen. And that was definitely something happened behind the scenes, and I'm assuming that the Nintendo Switch 2 is supposed to launch earlier, or supposed to get revealed earlier, and third-party companies already were going through with their marketing, and they had to get their products out and open to the public. And some of them might have actually had some Grinch faces on them and thought this could be a cool idea to really get some publicity. Genki definitely got some publicity from that. Pretty much giving us a Switch 2 trailer before the Switch 2. And then we got the actual Switch 2 trailer. And I honestly liked how they presented it. It's definitely a get off my back kind of trailer. They released it to get it out They did the goofy, it transforming into a Switch 2, and I like that it was revealed in a goofy fashion. And then they show off a game. One that was actually leaked, Mario Kart 9. But still, that's definitely a good way to get people hyped. Then they got the information saying it's backwards compatible. There's going to be a direct. There's going to be handheld events or hands-on events. I think that's as good as they could do until the direct to fully showcase everything. I think they showed all they needed to show. And I kind of liked how they showed the Switch in a goofy fashion. Because the Switch 1 completely isolated itself from the Wii U, tried to be as modern and as sophisticated as possible, where the Wii U was more goofy and laid back. That kind of added to its problems, but that's also Nintendo's charm. The Switch 1's completely bland and basic and no menu music, which I hate. And I think that was the smartest move to make to get them back on track, but the Switch 1 has served its purpose, and that's why I think the Switch 2 needs to come out. It needs to kind of go back to their roots, not in being dumb marketing businesses, but bringing back Nintendo's charm, Nintendo's image. Like how some of their games are more colorful, less bland, and are having more goofy animations, just being more inviting. And if it's supposedly the Switch 2 has a Wii U menu, I think that's a really good thing to hear, because we'll get more ambience, more music, more of the what makes Nintendo Nintendo, rather than blank, boring Switch menu that functions worse than other menus. I definitely think they need to go back to the roots there. I think a bunch of companies need to go back to the roots there, honestly. Like, take a look at the Xbox, the OG Xbox, the 360s before 2011 when they switched to Metro. Absolutely perfect. Had the charm, had the color, had the identity, while still being functional and practical. And I've gone over how this stuff works in my Curse of Modernization video. I still agree with that. That's still one of my biggest gripes about modernization, is they go too far into it and cut off their image. But the Switch 2 doesn't need to go fully back that way, because it will no longer be practical. That's one of the factors to modernization. But they need to go back to their roots and making it more welcoming, more inviting. Like how the PS4 had that color, that music, the vibes, I guess, the vibes. Some of the PS5 is starting to lack a bit. Some of the Xbox lacks entirely. This is a bento box. But yeah, I think that's something that the Switch 2 could use. And that's pretty much it for the Switch 2. There's not really much else to cover other than all the leaks. And now I'm just excited for April. And that's about it. Guys, the Switch 2 can fly.
It can fly!